Hello, I see folks are joining on, which is great. My name is Laura Perry. I am outside the Parishville Museum this afternoon. It is a bright and sunny, beautiful afternoon in Parishville, New York. I saw the temperature was 47 degrees, blue skies behind me, you can see. And we thought it would be great to get started here outside. I'm going to show you I'm going to flip the camera here in just a minute. We'll show the front entrance of the museum. And we have folks waiting inside. We'll do introductions and we'll get started. It's so great to see so many people joining on. I saw the interest coming up in the group or in the event over this week. Just before I joined on, I could see... Yeah, we are outside. I could see 100 people had indicated an interest in joining today's group, which is awesome. So good to see everybody. I'm going to flip the camera now to show you the museum. Okay. And so you can see we're out on the front lawn, on the front sidewalk of the museum. I'm going to show you, before we go inside, the view from the street. Right, so that's looking up towards Hopkinton. This is Route 72, right in front of the museum. And if we swing around, I'll just go all the way around here. Sunny downtown Parishville this afternoon. Isn't it beautiful? Welcoming us to the springtime season. You can see down the street towards the gorge. Those of you who are familiar with Parishville, you know the gorge and the bridge. So it's in sight of the museum. So as you come into town, the museum is right here on the main street. Okay? All right, fabulous. So I'm gonna just do a quick view here and we'll head in to get started. So while I'm getting started, I want to encourage everybody to engage. So I want to hear from folks out there. First off, what you can do is let us know where you are joining in from today. So if you want to put in the chat or in the comments there where you're joining in from today, that would be great. So you can see as I come in the front foyer, you can see my reflection in the mirror. And I see Kathy on. Hi, Kathy. It's my sister-in-law. All right, so let's do some introductions. I'm going to flip the camera around once more. So we're looking at me again. So here today, this afternoon, we are fortunate to have our volunteers here at the museum. I'm going to introduce you to two individuals who have agreed to help us out with this tour. I'm going to share all the great stories that we have here to share in Parishville. So first off is in the camera here is Miss Joanne Zanger. Joanne, do you want to just say a quick word about your role here with the museum?
Well, first of all, I want to welcome all of you to the museum because it's such a great opportunity for you really to see what we have here. I function as the president of the Historical Association, and we've got just a great group of gals and some guys working on this different little projects here and there. So we're making some progress and we're inviting everybody to come and see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joanne. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, and so then to our left here, I'm going to swing the camera around and have you meet Joe McGill. Joe, do you want to talk about your role here?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm actually the historian of the museum for the town. So I've been doing this. I've been historian for 10 years. I've been involved with the Historical Association since 2007. That's a little math that I didn't prepare ahead. So yeah, my primary role here is research for anyone interested, tours of the museum, and just assisting the Historical Association.
Awesome, awesome.
So hopefully I have a little bit of knowledge here that as we walk through, I can point out certain things and hopefully there'll be some questions and I think it'll be a nice tour.
All right, I'm sure it will. That will be awesome. So I see some comments coming in. I'm going to flip the camera around once more. So now we're facing so you're not seeing me, but you're seeing the museum. I'm going to set this down so I can see your questions in the chat for just a second. All right, I want to thank everybody for joining and your patience as we work through these details. Okay, awesome. So we're seeing folks coming in from North Bay, Ontario. Florida. Let's see, what else? Oh, Alabama. All right, awesome. Julie, my sister's in from Alabama. That's great. Wisconsin, awesome. Okay, keep ringing those in. So I thought I'd give you a quick rundown. We're starting here in the foyer of the museum. We're going to work our way through the first floor, room by room. We'll talk about some features in each of the rooms. And I have another question to throw out to the folks here joining in just a little bit. So we'll talk about the foyer here a little bit, and then we can go on. So, yeah, Joe, I know when we were here last week, we met, did a little preparation for the session, and we talked about some features in this foyer.
Yeah. I think probably the most impressive thing in the foyer is probably the woodwork.
Yeah.
The entrance into the main sitting room and the fireplace here. So it kind of ties into the history of the building itself. So the building is dated about 1850. Those are the earliest records we can find.
Okay.
But this beautiful woodwork was done in 1900, that year. This is when the Clark family, who was probably the most prominent family in town at the time, purchased the house in 1900, had all this work done before they moved in 1901.
Awesome. Yeah, so the house was built originally, and then there was a number of years, and then that house changed hands and it was renovated. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, prior to the Clark family, it was a Bartlett family.
Okay.
He was an attorney, ended up relocating to Potsdam, sold to the Clark family, who had already owned a lot of the businesses in town, timber-related businesses. So
the renovation was a huge renovation.
It's a totally different house
and
from the original.
Pretty much intact since that renovation.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So,
yeah, it didn't look much different. It doesn't look much different now than it did in 1900.
So I know we're noticing the fireplace. We talked a little bit about the fireplaces. We're going to see a few more here in the throughout the space here. Obviously, fireplace, wood heat was the primary method of heating, something that's very important right here in the North Country.
Yeah, so this house, there was a wood furnace in the basement, but they really, I envisioned that they had these fireplaces going all winter. I mean,
right.
There's not a drop of insulation in these walls. These old windows just didn't hold heat.
So folks online, give me a thumbs up if the sound is okay, or a thumbs down, I guess, if it's not okay. And maybe also if it's, the image is good coming through and everybody can see what we're showing. So, yeah, we noticed too, there's a piano right here in the front foyer.
Yep, this is actually a pump organ.
Okay, right.
So two pedals here on the floor. I don't think this one works. We have another one upstairs, but
right. There's a number of organs and pianos in this space, isn't there? So there's this one here.
So these are all donated over the years by typically local people. This organ was donated by Grace Tucker.
Oh, okay.
She was a notable lady in town.
That's great. Yeah. Yep, so we see 35 folks online right now, which is awesome. Yeah, isn't that great?
That is great.
Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for all the encouragement. And I see we have another guest with us here today. Snuck in the back. So we did introductions. We got to get you introduced here.
I'm Judy Witherell, Parishville Historical Association member.
Okay, awesome.
So Judy's great. She's kind of our connection to the school in town. So.
Right.
We have a few projects that we'd like to get going with the school, so hopefully they will enjoy the museum.
Yeah, it's one of our goals to bring the school in and make a big sound connection between the two, because kids just don't get that at school anymore.
Yeah. It seems like you guys have really breathed a new breath of fresh air in terms of the, just working at it. Yeah. And I know a lot of the pictures on Facebook. That was what got us started on this effort, which is really great. And I've gotten messages since we put this event out that wondering, was I the one doing the pictures? No, I'm not. The museum and Judy and the volunteers are.
Has done the pictures for the museum
Yeah.
website.
Okay.
And she's doing a fantastic job because between she and Joe, they're putting a lot of historical information in there too.
Yes.
Not just the pictures online.
Yeah, the stories are great that go along with the pictures.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so nice.
Yeah, I really needed that push from Diana because she's really taken over the Facebook page.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of questions generated, and it forces me to answer them. So.
Yes, I've seen the engagement and the questions online, and that has been really great. A lot of people have connections and heartfelt connections back home to the Parishville community. All right, so should we start into the foyer or the parlor,
Yeah,
right? The parlor.
sitting room, yeah.
Okay.
So years ago, I got to speak with some surviving members of the Clark family, and they said really this room was never really used. It was kind of off limits, except for special occasions.
And
So.
historically, I think a parlor would be that. Would be,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, a lot of homes.
So this picture you're looking at on the wall.
Yeah.
So if anyone watching that's my age or older would know Dr. Thaler. So he was our last resident physician in town. Actually, even did house calls when I was little. So just really loved by the town.
That's great.
And he was very, very involved with the museum too.
Cool. So the beautiful open windows, furniture.
Yeah. A lot of these actually came with the house when the house was turned over to the town. So a little background on that. So this Clark family that I spoke of, the father of the family passed away quite young, in the 20s, I believe. And after that, they had children. His wife and his children were still in the house, but just didn't remain here after he was gone. So pretty much closed up the house, left everything here. Eventually, it was decided that it would be turned over to the town. There were some stipulations for use. It wasn't to be used for. Just because they'd seen a lot of sickness in their family, it wasn't to be used for like a nursing home or anything like that. So we had just organized our historical association and didn't really have a home. We were kind of housed in the upstairs of the town hall.
Oh, I see.
So this was a great fit for us.
Okay.
But a lot of the items you see here were included with the house. Although when we did open, people started cleaning out their attics and bringing stuff here. But.
Yeah, I thought we'd get into that. Like if around, people that want to support the museum, we can talk about that. Yeah. Yeah,
so over the years, we've really accumulated a huge collection to the point where we're pretty full.
Right.
So as a historical association, we've kind of come to the idea that we really only want to take things that have a direct connection to Parishville as far as artifacts go. So, and we still do get quite a few things. I'm not good at turning things away, but
right.
I have to.
Right.
But yeah, we're slowly, and probably Joanne can talk about what we're doing with our collection right now.
Right. One of our members, Mary Gilbert, is very dedicated to cataloging our items. We've got a computer program that she's using to make lists. There's lots of lists throughout, but it's hard to put them all together and find out what you want. So what we're hoping to end up with is if someone comes in looking for a great Uncle Ed's hat,
right,
that great aunt, whoever donated, we're able to look at the computer program and find it.
Yeah. I know there was some interest in a few items posted in the event, so perhaps if we get a chance, we can take a look for those things. I know one was a spinning wheel, which I know you had mentioned to me. There's a few upstairs, and then there was a flute there was somebody who was interested in a flute that was donated. So
Yeah. It's going to be hard to
yeah,
condense this into an hour. I could probably spend an hour in this room.
right.
But yeah, just
We
know,
can
as,
keep moving.
as you see pictures, whatever you're seeing on the screen, I'm happy to answer questions if I can.
So Karen Hazelton, I'm just seeing this now. What is that book? So I must have passed by a book or
Must
two.
be this.
Maybe.
So this is a Bible. So we have quite a few
is that
Bibles.
like the family? Oh, okay. Okay.
So this one's not specific to the Clark family. It was donated, but Bibles are great, especially for genealogists.
Sure.
It was a good tool for recording birth dates and death dates and marriage dates. And a lot of the Bibles we have here do have family history in them like that. So, but this is just a nice big Bible. I think it
Neat.
has some
Then there's
connections
another
with-
piano in this room. Yeah.
So this is something I rescued from the town hall.
Okay.
Quite a few years ago.
Yep.
They were getting ready to throw it out, but this had been actually they arrived with their chainsaws
I
to
was
get
just
it
thinking that.
to bring it down.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of history with this piano.
Sure.
It was upstairs in the town hall. For years they used to have events up there,
Yep.
dances, and this was kind of a centerpiece up there.
Okay.
I just thought it shouldn't be
Right.
destroyed. So I had it brought here. Actually, somewhere in here there's a photograph, an old picture of this room with a piano in this spot that's identical to this one. So I'm wondering if it's the same one.
Right. It could have been moved,
It's
donated
got
to
these
the.
three panels on it.
I think those panels are pretty unusual too.
And they're unusual. So it's terribly out of tune, but
Yeah.
it looks nice.
Sure does. All right. So should we move into the next room? All right. Awesome. I'll follow you.
Okay. So this has become our research room,
Okay.
dedicated to our previous historian. So Emma Fountain Remington, who's my mentor here at the museum. We put her name on this room, so didn't really have a big purpose for this room. You'll see these circus wagons in this case over here.
Yes.
So this room just had a couple cases of these circus wagons, which they're obviously very beautiful.
Yes.
These were handmade by a local gentleman named Everett Frederick.
Okay.
He carved all the animals by hand and built the wagons. Based all his ideas on a magazine subscription that he had. But he kept them in his garage or in his barn. When he passed, his family donated these to the museum.
They are beautiful.
So we kind of condensed that display and made some room for this table for research.
Right.
I think it's worked out very well. This is where our member Mary Gilbert does all her inventory work. Yeah.
We have some interest and speculation about what this space is. We talked about this when we were here last week. So it's maybe hard to see on the video, but it's like a closet, although the wall is rounded, right? It's rounded. And Joe, you talked about how closets were kind of rare.
It's unusual, especially the big closets we have here. You just didn't really see them in old homes, especially bedrooms. I suspect this may have been a study or something. But yeah, closets were rare, I think, in old homes.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. We have a wall quilt here that memorializes a number of individuals in the community. I know.
Yeah.
Talked
So
about
this was made by a local quilting group.
Okay.
In the mid '80s, I would say, early to mid '80s. I think it was a fundraiser. You'll see a lot of names on here. People would donate whatever to get a name on the quilt. So mostly memorial names.
Yes. Hi, Lindsay. I know maybe your sister. So Lindsay Remington Larson is on here. And okay. So she says Emma was her grandmother. And I messaged with another granddaughter this week off and on in Facebook. So Yep. So there was quite a fan base, and we talked about how you mentioned Emma's contributions over time and the impact she's had here at the museum.
Emma was irreplaceable.
Yeah.
But I do my best, but there's not another Emma.
Okay. So that's great.
This was her passion. I'll show you the plaque that we put up for the room,
Okay.
just above the door.
Oh, okay.
Just in honor.
Oh, yeah. I see it. Yep.
Honestly, it
There you
should be the Emma Remington Museum. It's something.
There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now we've stepped into the dining room,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. Another beautiful fireplace. Not a lot to say about this room. I think the on the other side of the wall where the pantry is, we've got interesting pass through to the dining room.
yes. Well, yes, I want to
think
show
that's
that
pretty
for sure.
notable
Yeah.
When you get to that.
Yep, for sure. So I know when I think that's one of the things that attracted my attention early on was the setting for in the dining room table. And then if you guys can see, right, so off the dining room table is the like service window into the pantry.
It was a wealthy family. They had housekeepers and servants. I'm sure that was used.
Especially when we get into the kitchen and you see what the size of the kitchen is, right?
Yeah. And the one story I have about this house, I mentioned it last time we were here. So this is a little closet. On the other side is the stairway. So it's a closet under the stairs, but the children that lived here were naughty one day, and they locked one of their housekeepers in the closet. So it was notable for them.
Infamous story, yes. That's great.
Yeah.
So, question out to the folks on joining online. I thought a question that I could put out to you and have you respond is, if there's a word that describes how you feel about your connection with Parishville, put it in the chat if you would. Put it in the comments. I want to see the stream of descriptive words that you have that, when you think of Parishville, you think of this. So, and we'll wait for those as we go into the kitchen area. Okay. All right. So that window enters into this space here, which is the pantry right off the dining room space. I'm seeing home in the chat, which is great. Home.
So I should apologize a little bit so we are reorganizing.
I love this pantry.
And inventorying, and it is a little messy. Hopefully we're gonna make a little sense of things when we really get things sorted out.
Family memories, family reunions at the park. Awesome. Neighbors, memories. Awesome. Okay, we'll go into the kitchen. Okay, so yeah, we see the
Yep, so
okay.
ice box.
Oh,
So
yeah.
This is your refrigerator of the day, I suppose.
There we go. Yeah. There's a light in here to just try to add a little more light. Okay, and then
Your wood box, so
Yep.
that would be typical when you have a cook stove, like the one we have here.
Yep.
Which came with the house. I think the cook stove's beautiful.
I do too. I'm
And
infatuated with this cook stove.
Yeah, really state of the art for the time.
Big. It's big.
It's big.
Yep.
It had a water heating system, so that it was fed by a cistern in the house.
Okay.
You know, it's got piping running through the stove.
Yep.
It feeds the sink over here, so just really unusual, probably. Probably not everyone had one like this. I know probably everyone had one, but this was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, for sure. The size of it alone is really, that would put out some heat for sure.
Yeah.
And then over here, so this is the kitchen. This is the whole kitchen. What I was, amazed with was the size of it, and actually, working in it, feeding a family.
Yeah. I mean, this is the sink.
Right,
so
right.
It's kind of neat, and fed through that cistern water system that goes through the cook stove.
Right.
And it just drains out the side of the wall, which is...
There you go. Yep, there's the piping. So they had indoor plumbing. Did you say this was the first house?
This is the first house with indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
First plumbed bathroom in town.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
We can probably peek in the bathroom real quick.
Yep,
too.
we can.
It's pretty much original.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually tore the floor up in this several years ago and found this underneath.
Really? The memories are still coming in. Summers at Grandma's.
Yeah.
It's great.
So everyone asks about this.
Yeah.
This tank right here that you're going to see.
Yep.
So this is, it's actually,
There we go.
This was used in the local barber shop as a way of steaming towels. It was Faye Duffy's barber shop.
Okay, here in town?
Here in town.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of so there's maybe people who remember that?
Possible.
Yeah?
If we've got some people watching that have been around a while. Before my time.
And the old claw tub. There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
The light today is really wonderful for lighting up the space so we can see. Yep.
Yeah, even the shower in the tub, I think that was pretty unusual.
Right? Neat.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, friends, for just joining us, we are we're wrapping up the tour in the kitchen and the bathroom and headed to the next space, which I can't remember what we called this.
So this was a woodshed.
Yes, that's right.
Originally, repurposed as our photograph room.
Yep. So the woodshed, look at the size of this woodshed. Obviously needed a lot of space for storing wood to feed all these fires all winter long.
This is probably, especially for people looking into genealogy, this is probably our most popular room.
Okay, people spending time in here looking at photographs.
Chances are, if you had ancestors in Parishville, there's probably a picture of them in here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll get closer. You can see.
So the big one right there in the corner of the man and woman, those are my ancestors.
Oh,
So
right. Interesting.
I have ties way back to this town.
We have somebody on here that Faye Duffy cut his hair.
All right.
Faye Duffy's barbershop is where the AmVets is now located. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, folks. It's great to hear you chime in. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Probably that person would remember Faye's wife, Bessie Duffy, also well known in town. Teacher, I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think there's some senior photos upstairs. There's some more were there collections of teams or something upstairs? I remember somebody's asking about senior class photos.
So senior class photos here.
Oh, okay. Okay. We'll come around to them in a minute here.
These are graduation photos.
Okay.
I think they run through 1974.
Okay. That old car.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so if you're planning on some time up here this summer, visiting a camp or visiting family, there is opportunity to come in person to the museum. And maybe, you know, if we don't see what you want to see here today with the live stream, and certainly there's lots that I can't, you know, capture on the camera. But the museum folks are going to be opening up the museum. I believe they're going to post the hours.
Yep. So right now the plans are every Saturday from 1 to 3.
Okay.
But you know, reach out for appointments. We can accommodate.
That's wonderful. So yeah, so museum folks can be contacted through the Facebook page. The volunteers are managing that page now, and certainly, you know, interested in helping out and sharing the museum if there's something that you want to see in person while you're here. So, yep, and there's the senior pictures down here. I don't know how well they're going to come through, but okay, I see now. 1970, 1968.
68, that's my mom's graduation.
Okay.
My dad's in 64. If anyone remembers Tuppers or McGill's from Parishville, that's my family.
I see some Fenners on here, so
Fenners,
yeah.
Sure. Yep, Fenners have been here forever. They actually have a relation to the Clark family that lived in this house.
Oh, okay.
So.
A lot of senior pictures. So definitely, if that's something you're interested in, stop in this summer.
Yeah, just a note around the corner if you want to take a look. So before plumbing, this was
oh, right.
the attached outhouse.
Right, the attached outhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a 2-seat.
Oh.
Whatever. Behind that door. So.
I bet it's pretty dark in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We got the outhouse going here.
I actually have one in my house too.
Oh, lucky. Lucky.
I just can't tear it out. It's just a conversation piece.
Right. So, you live in one of the original houses in Parishville?
So my house is about 1878.
Okay.
So not quite as old as this.
Yep.
But yeah.
But you've done a lot of work to it. I've watched over the years. It looks really nice from the...
but a lot of it's remained original.
Yep.
I kept a lot of the woodwork, which is, cut from the same mill as this house. It's identical to the woodwork here. So
yeah, we didn't talk about that earlier on. We talked. One of the things that I found in one of the write-ups with Parishville is the number of mills. So this town essentially got started because of its proximity to the water and its access to cheap power and generating power from mills.
There were 14 mills beyond what we call the gorge here.
Yep.
All timber related. So you're talking butter tubs or handles for rakes, shovels. Lost to fire, several fires over the years, and they rebuilt, and then at some point it just was not feasible to rebuild. But definitely depended on the river just for moving timber.
Access to timber, right, and generating the power. Yeah.
So.
Neat. Yeah, I didn't know that when you reference mills, I'm thinking you're like just milling logs.
Right.
I didn't know that you were like manufacturing items.
Yeah. And when you were in the photo room, so one of the walls, some of your viewers may have seen pictures of the mills. Employed a lot of people.
Okay. Is that the downstairs?
That's the downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can move Well,
Okay, we're gonna bid Ms. Zanger goodbye. She's on her way. Thank you very much for showing us around
You're
and
welcome.
being host for us. We're gonna head upstairs and check out the upstairs.
Enjoy.
All right, thank you so much.
Alrighty.
All right, and then we wanted to see this, yes, the highlight down here of the
yeah.
first floor.
So fortunately, I know a little bit about the windows, because a lot of people ask. So there's a local historian, stained glass historian in St. Lawrence County. His name's Dave Martin.
Okay.
He focuses on a type of stained glass called Horwood glass. And he was kind of hoping these were Horwood windows, but
Oh.
he confirmed these are actually Tiffany windows.
Wow.
So
And they're in beautiful shape.
they are.
They really are.
There are a couple repairs. So
Okay.
children being children and
Uh-huh.
having access to BB guns.
Right.
We did lose some, but I think it was a nice repair.
Yep. Yep.
Emma Remington's husband Warren actually repaired these.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. It just offers such a nice glow, like down in this foyer, you know?
So as you enter the landing at the top of the stairs, this is one of our projects. So for years this was kind of just a catch-all, I guess. But it's getting a theme now. So this is our going to be a military themed
Okay. Yep.
area, which was in another space, but just works better up here. I
Uh-huh.
think.
Great.
I think Emma would approve. That's always in the back of my mind.
Sure. Big shoes to fill. Yeah.
So these are all artifacts and photos of local soldiers.
Great. I know the committee is working currently on setting up these exhibits, right? Getting ready for the summer season.
Yeah. We really...
It's a lot. It's a labor of love.
It is. From the beginning, I don't think there were a lot of changes in exhibits. So, so as we're taking inventory, we're kind of changing things up a little bit.
Sure.
'Cause I think it needs to be refreshed.
Sure.
The military exhibit was one that the kids that would visit from school, the classes, the kids loved this.
Oh.
The display of the military things.
Oh, yeah.
We thought it'd be nice to move it out where they had a little more room.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. So you'll see Emma Remington's name throughout the building, but this is
One of her-
one of her great uncles,
Oh.
Basil Drake, Civil War
Okay.
veteran. She was very proud of that.
Great. Yep. Yeah, I know we talked a little bit about some of the challenges associated with maintaining these items,
Yeah.
right? Preserving them, protecting them. I know there's an effort underway to secure grant funding to help with this effort,
There is.
which is great.
Unfortunately, the building hasn't had heat since it was turned over to the town. That really takes a toll on a building, especially people that have lived up here. You know how cold the winters are.
Yes.
It just wasn't feasible to heat the house. So we've actually, with help from the town, we've installed a new furnace.
Okay.
Not really able to turn it on yet, just because I mentioned there's no insulation here.
Right.
We turn it on, the heat just escapes the building. So
Sure.
So we're looking at efforts to insulate and possibly change windows so that we can actually heat the building.
Oh, I see. Yep. And this is a beautiful bed set.
Yep. So this is the master bedroom. This is the the suite here was all included with the house.
Oh yeah.
So this
Yeah.
carriage.
Yeah, it's the carriage.
It was up in the attic for years. As I was digging through, I actually found a photograph of one of the Clark children.
Neat.
In
the carriage.
In the carriage.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
That's excellent.
Even things like that, you know.
A lot of clothing.
So people watching from Florida, you'll see we have our coats on.
Yeah, it's
And
still
it's colder in this house than it is outside, but I think it's in the 40s outside, maybe
not
50.
that warm.
no.
It's probably 40 in here, maybe.
Yeah. We keep waiting for warm, don't we? It's coming. It's coming.
But again, you'll notice how large the closets were in this house.
Yeah.
For being an old house.
Right.
That's super unusual that they even have a closet. And these are walk-in closets.
Right. So stature shows stature.
It does.
Yeah. All these photos on the walls are members of the Clark family.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I think we're doing well for time.
Oh, good.
So,
Good.
okay.
Yes.
So people that have visited the museum in the past, so this was the military room.
Okay.
We're kind of transforming it. So this was actually the girls' room.
Okay.
The children that lived here. But we're making it into more of a textile room, I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the word we're using with our quilts and our.
This was a room that we felt was the least likely to fade the
Yep.
quilts out even more.
Uh huh.
You know, we had a member that ordered the solar curtains, the solar shades, so that has helped a lot. And we have a new member that's really taken with the buttons and knows quite a bit about them. So
Neat.
she's been working on those.
I was just telling her, so that rounded closet downstairs, there's boxes full of buttons.
Oh.
So she's pretty excited.
Oh,
Yes, there's a lot of buttons. There are a lot of buttons.
Yeah.
and it's amazing all of the different things that I learned just yesterday about buttons that I didn't have any idea about.
See?
I don't even want to learn.
Oh.
Everybody has their thing, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying this was built for this room was set up for the Clark girls.
Yep.
This part was built on for one of the girls. Her name was Charlotte. At a young age, she had contracted tuberculosis. So treatment for the time was sunlight, fresh air. So this is kind of modeled after what you'd see in Saranac Lake and their treatment facilities there.
It is amazing. It's a beautiful feature, and it's so significant of the times, right? This healing porch, they're famous. I mean, you can read about it in Saranac Lake and others, and a lot of the homes of the period had these healing porches where people were hoped to recover from tuberculosis.
This is really the first room that we've put a little money into, little elbow grease.
Yeah, and it really shows. It's beautiful out
Patching
here.
and painting.
Yep.
So
It's a wonderful feature.
room by room.
Yep. So with 45 people on here and, others that we're going to touch with this video, if there was one thing that, if folks wanted to help or do something, what would be the greatest, what would be one thing that the museum could use for help from the public, do you think? Is it funds? Is it cash donations? Is it time, service? You know, do you do work bees? Those sorts of things? Membership in the association even? You know, examples of those types of things. Because I know something like this touches a lot of people, and it's possible that, you know, they'd want to help. So, yep, I looked at this.
So this map's pretty popular especially for genealogists.
It's tough to get on here.
This one's 1898, I believe, or 96. Yes, 97. I love it because it actually shows the name of every household in the county.
Right.
So, I mean, I can go to Parishville and pick out where my ancestors lived. So I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's massive too.
And it's massive. I'd like to display it somewhere else. It's kind of hard to view here, but
very cool.
yeah. So the children's room.
Yes, this is another beautiful favorite.
Yeah. So I do clarify, especially when we have kids here.
All right.
They wouldn't have had this many toys. So this is, there's a lot of donated toys here, but probably wouldn't have owned that many toys.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great room. Got some great stuff.
A lot of dolls.
A lot of dolls. My wife won't come here because of the cracked porcelain doll faces. Yeah, that freaks a lot of people out. I get
Right.
it. I guess I get it.
Well, they've made a lot of terrible movies about that, so.
Yeah.
But there's other people that like collect them, and
Yeah.
yeah.
This little baby swing is great.
Yep.
This unhooks and sits on the floor as a rocker.
Oh,
But that we actually have an old photo of that somewhere. It's on the front porch. So this is a Clark
right.
relic.
Yep. All intact. It says cabin class, Southampton, New York. Neat. We were just in Ellis Island and did that tour not too long ago, and learned about, you know, people coming through and the conditions and experience of it all. Lots of playthings.
Yeah, so these are the Clark girls. I spoke about them.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Charlotte and Margaret.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Margaret used to visit here, and Charlotte didn't live to a very advanced age. I think she was in her 20s, maybe,
Okay.
if that. But she's the one that had tuberculosis. But
Oh.
Margaret used to come back and visit.
Some more candid style pictures.
Yeah, those are all from this house, those pictures.
That's great. Excellent. Okay.
So this is kind of an odd room and
Oh, right.
odd entrance.
Okay.
But it kind of houses we call it the music room.
Oh, right.
A lot of stuff from our local school bands and town bands.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a gazebo in town, a bandstand where the local town band would play. So pictures of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that marching band outfit there is from my day.
Oh.
I think that was my brother's, maybe.
Yep, and more music, musical instruments.
Yeah, this is basically a record player.
Uh-huh.
Some people might be familiar. So these, see, it does have a needle, but this is a record. It's a cylinder.
Yep.
But it works just like a vinyl record.
Yep.
And it's just the needle sits on that. It does work. I've had it playing. One of these works. I've had it playing before.
And there's bunches of those.
Yeah, some interesting titles in there. Some that are not politically correct by today's standards. So
Okay.
we won't get into that.
Interesting. Interesting. (2001) New York State champions.
Yeah, who remembers that? That was a good year when our baseball team went to
Okay.
the States.
Okay. Oh yeah, the button collection. More buttons.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the history of these collections or who made these displays.
Okay.
A lot of so I spoke about damage, what happens to a building when there's no heat.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of moisture, and it's kind of ruining some of our signage that really explained some of these exhibits. So I'm not real sure the history of these button collections, but we're changing them around.
Okay.
Yeah. Just closets full of old books. These came with the house. There's old ledgers from Clark businesses, and actually
Time capsule.
had someone come here a few years ago, and we opened up one of the ledgers. Just randomly opened up a page and found his great-grandfather listed as one of the customers in the ledger. So bizarre. Yeah. So this room's a mess, which is my fault because I'm kind of...
We're working on it, right? It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is my sorting room, I guess.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But a lot of great stuff. So I brought children up here from the school, showed them these typewriters over here, which is a foreign thing to young kids today.
Yes.
So they're asking where the monitor plugs in.
Right.
But my kids always thought those were cool.
Yeah.
The typewriters.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Some old viewing glasses, right? The picture viewers.
Kind of the equivalent of like a Viewmaster from when we were kids.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen them in movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's a spinning wheel.
Spinning wheels.
Mm-hmm.
A couple there. They're kind of hidden back here. We'll put those out on display. I think they should probably go in the textile room somewhere.
And the winders too, or I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
I think those should all be out there, but we're so limited on space.
We are.
You know,
Yeah.
we'd have to change them in and out for the displays.
Yep.
Which is what we'd like to eventually do.
Yep. Yep. There's 2 spinning wheels, it looks like here. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Have we seen everything?
I think so. This is the last room on the second floor.
My batteries. There we go. Okay. Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have any questions from the group?
No, let's see.
Okay.
Let me just go through here real quick. Oh, okay. Hold on.
So we do have a large barn out back, and we have a blacksmith shop that was moved here. That was the Jackwish Blacksmith Shop, local family.
So a couple comments have been coming in. I didn't realize they were down below the thing. So Karen Hazelton Tebow writes, I remember the post office fire when I was a kid.
Okay.
Shelley Smith, and I don't have my glasses on, but
I know Shelley Smith.
okay. Grandpa Oral, Pete Smith, was in the logging. He lived on Clark Street with his wife Hazel Bisnett Smith.
Right.
Okay.
So Shelley knows I have a connection to that house.
Okay.
It's a house that I flipped several years ago.
Oh, okay.
I bought it, flipped
Fixed.
and sold. Yeah.
Oh, adding to Shelley, I believe another museum was created in that home.
In that home?
That's what it says.
Okay, I'm not aware of that.
Right. Terry Scott Fox, my third great grandparents, Stark, lived in Parishville.
Okay, I'm familiar with the Starks.
I wonder, Stark Road?
Yes. Yep. I had, so I always tie it to my ancestors.
Yeah.
So I had a great, I think two or three great grandfather. His name was Sam Sampier. His wife was Edna Stark. So if that means anything to...
Yeah. Karen's rubbing it in. It's 84 in Florida.
Oh, come on.
I know, right? Cheryl, 41 here. Yeah, we know, Cheryl. Thanks. Compliments on doing this. Thank you, Tom. Okay, so here we go. Elliot Starks was my grandfather. His brother Wilder died at Starks Falls.
Okay.
Terry Scott Fox.
Interesting.
Okay. Love that everybody's sharing their stories. I love it. Is there a book for Parishville? Actually, we talked about this a little bit. There's varying documents around, right?
So there was a lot, and everyone had one at one time. So there was an old green Parishville history book. It came out.
They are downstairs on that new display.
We have a few left.
there is.
Yep.
Okay.
That came out around the bicentennial, I think
Yeah, I think
bicentennial
so.
year, 1976. It's a great history. It was always in my mind to make an updated version with some of that content and kind of 1976 forward.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
There you
We've got a
go.
great-
Interesting to do
Yeah.
that.
So I should mention, Emma Remington, she compiled a lot of histories on different topics. She's got like tragedies and schools and all the wars. I always envisioned a book that each one of those would be a chapter in that book.
Cool.
And
Someday.
it's really interesting to read those books too. I've gone through some of them.
They're
And,
fantastic.
it just gives you the local history and some of the comical things that happen.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
some of the other not so nice things that did happen, but they are interesting to read.
Right.
She's done a nice job.
Yeah. So Karen, one of our viewers, mentioned the fire at
Yeah.
the post office.
Yeah.
There's a book on fires, and pretty likely there's mentioning of that. in that
Right.
book, so.
Yeah, pretty devastating to the community over time.
A lot
Fire.
of fires. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Sheila Perry, this is great. Joe never answered how anybody could help. So there is interest out
Okay.
there. We need to think about that.
I can think of a lot of ways. So talking about writing a book, right?
Right.
How about transcribing Emma's projects, just getting them in type form, so we could,
Or even if somebody has a story of their own that's connected to Parishville, would be interesting to put in there. And,
sure, yeah, research projects. So.
And the association membership is like $15 for a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
So anybody is welcome to join if they have the interest. We meet once a month, and I forget when our next meeting is. It's like May 13th or something.
But even as
We
an
can put it out there.
association member, you can be like a friend of the museum, even if you can't come in person in meetings, you're
Right. You don't
supporting,
have to-
a variety of ways. Yeah. Okay, Tom, did that answer your question? That was Tom Fenner.
All right.
Well,
Yeah,
he has family
Mary
history
Snell.
here too, so-
Tom definitely does.
Mary Snell points out the museum needs donations. Any amount will help. So there you go.
Love donations.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we don't charge a entry fee into the museum as far as tours go, but always happy to get donations. And we've been lucky with donations, I think.
This is great. This is great. There's lots of stuff in here.
Oh,
What
yeah.
year were the Clark girls were born? There you go. There's trivia for you.
I don't know.
Yeah. Think about it. I remember school trips to the museum.
So another thing Emma put together were genealogies of local families. So stuff like birth dates would be in that, and I know there's one on the Clark family. So if anyone's if they're just thinking of questions just to pick my brain, that's one thing. Reach out to me and I can get you that stuff.
Right, for sure, for sure.
There is a genealogy book downstairs that's with the Coolidge family, and it ties in with Calvin Coolidge when he was president.
Yeah.
It goes back to like all of his greats, the great grandparents and everything way back. That's an interesting one.
That's great.
I've been looking at that one.
So, last one. Tom Fenner is curious if his dad's fireman's jacket is still here.
Still here. Yep.
Okay, so there we go.
So who remembers Junior Fenner besides Tom? Another fixture of Parishville, right?
Is that around somewhere?
So we had the fireman's jackets here. I think
The hats are in your work.
Oh, I saw the hats on the shelf. Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. They're in the sorting process
Yep.
right now.
There you go. You have to come back this summer
Yep.
and visit in person and see it in person.
Yeah. So Tom's mom would always come here every summer when we had historical day every August, and Marion Fenner would always come and walk through, and she was very active here.
That's wonderful. I don't know what time, how long I can't see what time it is.
Yeah,
so if we're
6:01. So.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. We aimed for an hour. I'm going to flip the camera around here. So we're going to say my goodbye. We've done it, folks. We toured the museum. You tuned in, which is awesome. You engaged with comments and questions, and we heard them and responded. And we got to see some really great history here today. So I want to thank our volunteers, thank Joe McGill and Judy and Joanne Zanger and others that helped with this effort. And I'm going to sign off. And the recording will be available in this event. Facebook says it stays in there for 30 days, so you can come back or point people to it and come back and watch it. I also promised the museum that I would download a version of it, and they can have it for other purposes if they choose. So, yeah, this has been great. I really appreciate it. Again, this was a result of an assignment that I had in a course at SUNY Potsdam, and I really appreciate everybody willing to engage in this, and love it. Thank you so much. So I'm going to sign off. Thanks so much. All right.